So we just finished bladder meridian, right? We ended good. So we naturally bring the technique into the lower body. So the inner bladder meridian goes through the sacrum, and then it comes this way. The outer bladder meridian comes right through the gluteals. So after here, we're going to spend just a little time compressing and loosening the gluteals. And however you want that to manifest, just to do some general loosening. A lot of times I'll include a sacral squeeze, which is my fingers interlaced and squeezing the sacrum. It feels yummy. It also
yummy.
It does, really. Just some general loosening, and then just to work a general line to pick up the bladder meridian as it passes through the gluteals. So a good way of determining that is feeling for these two bony landmarks, the iliac crest and ischial tuberosity. Okay, so if you drew a line between those 2 points, that's where the that's where the bladder meridian passes through the gluteals. So just starting just below the iliac crest, you can thumb.
So you're getting right in basically the attachment of glute med.
Yes, just immediately distal to the iliac crest, and then following that line so that when you come through the gluteals, you're in line with the ischial tuberosity. Okay, so here's where the ischial tuberosity is. So that way, you get some nice specificity. Now, I'm going to show 2 different ways how to work hip through the leg. One, since we're in this position, we're going to take, after we work the gluteals, we're going to take the compression through.
How you doing, Izzy?
So flat fist. You have tight hamstrings, John?
He has tight legs.
Okay, so see how I'm addressing this with flat fist, right? And this is primarily following bladder meridian, because the bladder meridian comes right through the hamstrings, right through this back of the knee, right through the gastroc, and then it veers laterally in front of the Achilles tendon, but behind the lateral malleolus in this little groove. Comes right onto the side of the foot, its source point being at the base of the 5th metatarsal, and then it continues out the lateral aspect of the foot and goes out the lower lateral corner of the nail of the pinky toe. So in addressing a specific bladder meridian, we do this line. We do compressions, and when we come to the knees, we just do some circular, just to loosen, and just some general loosening of the gastroc. And then to thumb the point, we can just start just immediately distal to the ischial tuberosity and just sink in right in the middle. That's where the bladder meridian is. And then there's this point right in the center of the knee crease, the popliteal crease, right in the center. And then the bladder meridian continues right through the gastroc heads. Okay, so here, because of my position, I can easily do this bilaterally. Did you do it, Len?
We did it singular, one
Yeah.
at a time.
So this is one way of doing. I'm going to show a couple.
I like
of
it
ways.
like
I do too. And then, so be clear so that when you're thumbing, you go right through the gastroc, right? You veer laterally. So see, I'm in the trough. I'm in front of the Achilles tendon, but behind the malleolus, right in that soft trough there. You can take it right into the source point and right out the pinky toe. Okay? So that's one way of being specific to the channel. Now, depending on how your session is evolving when you're working, and I say that so that once you get an idea of working the body and how to move around the body and the location of the meridians, and the more you work, you not only have that, but you start to get an attitudinal feeling about the meridians because they all do have different kind of characters. That's how you determine how you're going to work the body, depending on where the person is, what they're asking for, and things like that. So that was working the lines very specifically. But there's also something to be said about working the muscles around the meridians. Because I think I mentioned, if not, I will now, depending on how the qi is flowing through the individual channels. And in Chinese medicine, they use qi flow analogous to how water flows. And water flows different ways depending on different things. The outside temperature, the wind, what's in the stream itself. You know, if there's a lot of blockages and things like that, that determines the flow. But also what determines the flow is the banks of the river. You know, if it's really wide or pitched or narrow or deep, it makes an effect on how that water is flowing. Same with qi. So particularly, not particularly, but as massage therapists, we should think about the musculature around the meridians and how that affects the flow. So one approach is, you know, working directly on the channel, and another one is working the musculature more. That could be more of a general addressing the musculature so the flow works better. So this system here, this particular way of working the hips, hamstrings, and out, it goes like more like this. So after you work this portion of bladder meridian, you can come to the side, and we're going to, our focus is more going to be the musculature around. So we can lift and start to do general loosening here. So this is flat of the fist, and as you bring the leg across, it brings the musculature and the meridian up to the surface more, and you can address like this. And using the flat of the fist, you want to pay attention to, like we did in sideline, the soft tissue between the bony landmarks of the lateral border of the sacrum and the greater trochanter of the femur. So general loosening here. And then I'll usually do my knee. Right. So as you bring this across, and you apply pressure in. And you work different areas in it. Now, there's also this leaning in, and then also sustained pressure and bringing it out. And that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. So I recommend loosening, and then once you stabilize and bring it out, a whole different thing.
Is this the same type of muscular loosening or pressure that we're doing once when we are also supine and putting our knee underneath them and doing the work? Are you okay with this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay? So this is a really nice way of working this area. And then from here you want to shift like this so you can do hamstrings.
Yeah, we did that too.
Okay? And you want to take that down. So you can use knee, you can use feet. You know, I mean, of course you could use palms, but I'm getting away from that more. Unless you feel comfortable with that, then you could support like this. This way you're over the work a little bit more.
You feel like you're not as bent over when you're using your knee or your
That's why I use it. It's more efficient. And also, too, I like the sense of transition. You know, particularly in this form of shiatsu, transition is very key. So it keeps a smooth, it's working on your liver chi. It's a smooth transition, spreading the chi more. So you hear, and then it's just a nice, like this. It's more suave. So you want to take it down. Now, then you can transition.
Randy? You prefer that to have them 10-minute segments, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.